Hey guys, Tim here with the Long Hair Gardener, and today it is time for a garden update. So we are at the beginning of July. I'm in Philadelphia, Zone 7B by the way. If this is your first time here, I try to do a garden update about once a month, and I'm gonna say that the garden is looking amazing right now. We're probably in peak garden right now. Maybe in like a week or two, it's gonna be like at absolute peak, but I think it is looking amazing today. So what do I mean by that? I mean, I have had plants back here at various stages for a while now. Some of them I have overwintered, some of them just grew from last year, and some I bought, and so they were all at various stages of growing, and they have kind of all equalized and met at a good point where they're looking really good. I also had some plants that were not in bloom, and they are finally blooming. So let's go ahead, walk around here and take a look. I'm not going to go over every plant in detail. I did that when I first showed you guys my garden maybe a month ago, but I'm just going to kind of make a few comments about what I think is looking really good right now. So let's go ahead and get started. So I just want to walk you through here real quick. I live in the city. I am very fortunate to have, for a city, a pretty large garden here where I can put many plants. Obviously, if you live in the country or in the suburbs, you probably have a lot more space than this. But as far as a city garden goes, I am very fortunate. So let's get started over here. So this area right here is all full sun and mostly pots, because as you can see, there's sidewalk all around here. So down below here, I am so happy with this planter. These petunias and verbena have just exploded and kind of intermingled together, which is exactly what I wanted to happen. I do have some Gara in here, which is kind of bouncing around up top here, which gives good movement, but it's probably getting choked out just a little bit, crowded out, because it really hasn't grown too much, but I'm very happy with the bottom portion. Right next door here in this pot, also very happy. This is a pineapple plant that I grew from a grocery store pineapple, but what I really like is the way that this lemon coral sedum down here and this dichondra silver falls have kind of intermingled here and created this nice little blanket for the top of this pot. We'll go right over here. I have a Mexican petunia right here. There is one blooming right here, and then down below, this sweet potato vine. I mean, sweet potato vines are, it's pretty hard not to be able to grow a sweet potato vine. This one is huge and doing sweet potato things, which means it's kind of crowding the pot and spilling out all over, which is fine because I only have 3 plants in here. Plant number 3 is this nasturtium. Not blooming, which is fine, but I'm really growing it for this variegated foliage. This planter up here, also doing amazing. Honestly, I think everything is doing fantastic. This lime licorice plant here is looking maybe just a little bit rough right here, probably a watering issue, but overall, I couldn't be happier with the way this looks. This lantana, which came up from last year, is finally starting to bloom and is looking fantastic. There's a Gumfrina over here on the sides and an Angelonia tucked here in the back. I've been a little unsure about this bird of paradise. I think it does get a little too much sun, and there's some like scorching on the leaves or some discoloration. but I did decide to just kind of keep it in there and hope for the best. There's also a Mizu plant down here, which is growing beautifully. And if I dig in here, it looks like there is a single flower hiding back here. So all of these pots here in the front are doing quite well. Like I said, I've kind of already have talked about these before. We just have some herbs. I do want to point out that the pineapple lily is looking spectacular. Last year I had it in a planter with other plants and it got buried and did not do so well. So I'm glad that this is looking so healthy this year. Up here the window boxes are doing very well. This is a cup and saucer plant or a vine right over here. It is not blooming. This should bloom late summer, so I'm hoping to get some blooms from that because the vine looks nice and healthy. There's also a mandevilla in here. It is off and on with the blooming. Currently there are no blooms. I'll have to pop a picture up on screen just so you can see what that looks like. We did get some heavy rain, and I'm gonna say that this planter right here is not looking peaked to me. I think this peaked a few weeks ago, and again, I'll put up a picture and you can see how gorgeous everything looks. Like the flowers have kind of slowed down on this guy right here, and even this is starting to look a little leggy, and I think this here maybe got too much rain. But let's just keep on moving here. Of course, I have an upright elephant ear. Got some basil that's just kind of hanging out up here. I have another pot of basil that I'll point out in just a minute. Got some calla lilies over here. They're a little floppy and, you know, in a post-bloom state. Up here on the wall, these are doing okay. They're also a little slow. I don't think these plants, not maybe just these in particular, I think several of my plants are not appreciating the fact that it has been 90 quite frequently this summer, and that's a little too hot for most of these plants and they really start to get stressed. Unfortunately, today is the first day of another week of temperatures in the 90s, mid 90s, so I have to really stay on top of watering, but I know a lot of these plants are going to look stressed, so it's another reason why I'm wanting to do this video right now. But we do have another sweet potato vine here, which I'm hoping will kind of cascade down. The Dichondra Silver Falls came up from last year, and this is still a little behind. And the lantana up there, for some reason, this one's doing okay. This one's a little small. Lantana usually like the heat, so I'm not sure what the delay is there. In these little pots, this is the first year I tried these, and I'm a little surprised at how good this looks. I have a string of pearls and then another type of sedum in this pot. They're doing quite well. I thought maybe this is a very heat intensive area with all of the cement. It's in direct sun for many hours. I didn't think they were going to do well, but they are. Moving down below, this area is looking phenomenal. I love, again, how this lemon coral sedum is just mixing in with this licorice plant. You can see this one is looking a lot better than the other one that I pointed out to you. The only thing not doing fantastic in this section would probably be the petunias over here. It's like a little leggy and disappearing, and there's also one over here which is almost completely disappeared. But that is okay because everything else is doing so well. I have a Vermillionaire over here and also over here. This one's getting a little bit lost because the salvia all of a sudden has just decided to explode and kind of dominate this section. There's a black elephant ear in the back here, which is also kind of getting a little bit buried. So I'm gonna have to come in here and decide if I want to maybe pinch back or cut back some of the salvia, just so that some of the other plants aren't completely getting pushed out of their home. I have a purple fountain grass back here, which I really like the way it's poking up here through this Vermillionaire. So far the hens and chicks bowl is doing okay. They're a little picky for me. They tend to rot, which is weird, but I try really hard not to water them at all and just rely on the rain. But even the rain sometimes causes them to rot. Down here, so this plant here, which is very yellow looking, there's one little flower left. That's a crocosima, oh my god, I can't talk. Crocosima, specifically the Lucifer variety, and for some reason it's very yellow looking. I kind of want to come in here and cut that off because it is covering up all of the wonderful things that are happening down here on the ground. I have a couple different kinds of coleus at the base of the statue, and I think it is looking so good. So I may come in here and get rid of that. Coneflower, they are a little small this year. Last year they were huge. It's interesting how the same plant can grow or react differently in your garden every year, just based on what the weather is like that year or this year. So this year my coneflowers not doing good. Last year they were huge. So year to year things are going to be different. So I have the huge red Abyssinian banana tree here, which is doing beautifully. That has been overwintered inside now for 3 years. It's looking great. I also have some cannas back here, which I'm growing for the foliage. Again, they are looking fantastic. I really love a good tropical vibe, and those are helping to fill in there and kind of cover, I'm going to say cover up the wall a little bit, but not really. But I think you know what I'm trying to say there. So these planters here have not been doing great. I've kind of been struggling a little bit with them. Really the only notable thing going on here are maybe the coffee cup alocasias, and then of course the bromeliads. Let me see if I can step in here without crushing my hostas. This one right here actually has a little flower. Can we see it? This little purple thing here sticking up. So that's exciting. But other than that, these plants are kind of struggling, and I think it's because the roots from this tree over here, I believe, have found their way up through the bottom of something's touching me, and it's the tree. The roots have found their way up through the bottom of these pots, and I think those roots are soaking up all the water because I can't keep these pots watered, and the plants are just performing pretty poorly. Why am I thinking that? Because I have another plant over here, or another pot over here. So this one, I have all these hostas back here, and they are in pots, but this one in particular, I noticed these hostas down here were doing very, very poorly, and when I picked up the pot, I couldn't because it was attached to the ground. The roots from this tree over here were all up inside that pot. So I had to do a complete soil change and raise that off the ground so that it's no longer touching. So I think that's what's happening over here. I think the tree is just sucking up all the water, and these plants are not doing good. Back here in the corner, the caladiums have finally completely opened. And again, talking about like differences from year to year, I always do pretty good with caladiums, but this year the caladiums are amazing. I'm gonna put my hand in here just so you can see like the size. Like look how huge this is. This is like elephant ear size. So for whatever reason, it's a good year for the caladiums. They do love the heat, and it's been a hot year, so I think that's what's happening. I'm very happy with them. This one right here, I can't remember the name of it right now, but this is definitely one of my favorites. I usually put impatiens back here in with these caladiums. Last year the impatiens did phenomenal. This year they are not doing good at all, so it's always a coin toss here. A couple more caladiums down here, and let's kind of step back a little bit or reposition. So these pots were a slow start, but I think they're doing really good right now. You can see there's just a variety of caladiums up here, some impatiens. I do have a new Gideon impatient, which is this one right here, and for whatever reason it is just not blooming. It was labeled as a shade loving new Gideon impatient. I know there is sun and shade, so maybe there was a mix up, because this one is just not happy being here in the shade, or at least not blooming. Let's just keep moseying around here. I just wanted to point out how beautiful this hosta looks, and also this coleus. So we're walking around. This stuff right here is also a full sun section. The areas that we just were past the banana, that was all shade, but we're back in the sun again, and this area is doing pretty beautifully. I have a mixture of upright elephant ears right here, right next to some more of those green cannas. I do have some Tropicanas right down here. They are growing much slower than the other variety for some reason. Coleus have finally grown together. I have some Gomphrena down here, which adds really a nice bright pop of color. For some reason they are growing just a little bit slower than I'd like, but still they're hanging in there. These are actually, all of these plants right here are new plants for me this year, and overall I think they're doing nicely. I really like the color of this ageratum. The Bidens, which is this one right here, I do like the pop of color. It does look a little floppy, but it does seem to be continuously blooming. Then of course I have this purple heart right here at the border. Overall, I'm happy with this section. Got another bowl of basil. Huge fan of basil. More of this cup and saucer vine. It's also found its way up into the tree. Again, hopefully this will be blooming soon. I have I had to come in here with my spray. Comment below if anybody else struggles with ants. I don't know, this camera's not great at zooming in, but there are tons of ants all over this brown-eyed Susan, especially down here. And what they are doing is they are supporting aphids, which are all over this plant. They did the same thing, I forgot to mention, over here. Let's just walk over here real quick. I noticed this. If you, it's very obvious. The penta back here, there's a dramatic difference in size. The leaves were kind of looking strange, and I came in here and to investigate, and I noticed that there were ants in here, and they were helping out a little colony of aphids. So I did spray them with some dish soap, and they have disappeared. I also have to do the same thing over here. Thankfully, that's the only thing I really struggle with in this garden. My mom and dad struggle with deer and rabbits and chipmunks and all kinds of animals, also Japanese beetles. Thankfully, I have none of that. The only thing I have to deal with are ants. So I guess I should be grateful. Here's another coneflower. More brown-eyed Susans. I don't see any ants or aphids there, which is wonderful. This planter here is very full, but it's definitely lacking color for me. The trailing coleus is beautiful. There's also, let's step over here, you can see it a little bit better. There's also a begonia. This is the Santa Cruz begonia, and when it is blooming, this side is also obviously blooming, but this one kind of lost some of the flowers. When that is blooming, it does add a little bit of brightness and a little pop of color, which is what it needs. It looks gorgeous next to this Strobilanthus, our Persian shield. So the plants are performing pretty well, but it maybe just lacking a little bit in color. It's very full in here. This papyrus plant, I have overwintered maybe 4 years at this point. It's a little small. I'm maybe ready to let it go this year. All right, finishing up. Right down here, we are now in like the mostly shaded section. The impatiens over here are doing well. And then there's just a variety of like tradescantias. There's some here, and of course the purple heart. I've got this green variety here. I want to say it's pistachio, but I don't think that's what that one is. I've had this one for a few years now, and I think the pistachio one is like a newer variety. More of these caladiums that I absolutely love. And then this section right here is doing quite well, with the spider plant back here, and then just a whole variety of caladiums. I really like this one. This one is called Frog in the Blender. That's an interesting name, but that's what that one's called. It's very different than these down here, but these are all supposed to be the same variety. I love this combo right here. Again, this is probably one of my favorite caladiums. Let's be honest, there isn't a bad one, but I do love this one. I love it up against this purple oxalis, little pops of green. This one even is flowering. But overall, I really love this section. I rely heavily on foliage, and the caladiums have finally popped up and are definitely helping this garden look so much better. I do have some houseplants sprinkled throughout back here, which are also doing quite well. So I think we covered pretty much everything. I just wanted to give you an update on how everything is doing back here. I'm just gonna walk through again. I'm gonna walk over here because I forgot to point out, look at this house plant up here. How huge this plant is getting. This plant is 14 years old at least, so it's becoming a struggle to bring that guy inside because of how big it is getting. All right, guys, that is everything for today. Mosquitoes keep landing on me. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this garden update. If you did, please click like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next garden video. I hope you're having a great summer.